In this episode, it's time to see if this will fit in here. Let's go. In our last episode, we stripped, sawed, yanked, and cut with the goal of making room for our big V8. Now that the stock 4-banger and auto transmission are free and clear, the real work of this engine conversion begins. Let's get to work. In a previous episode, we freshened up this LM7 V8 by installing a mix of high-quality replacement parts and high-performance goodies to complement our turbocharged combo nicely. There's still a few jobs to do before we can button up this engine and see if it'll fit in the Tacoma's engine bay, so let's get to it. First, we're going to upgrade our rocker arm setup using Summit Racing's LS Series Retrofit Trunnion Kit. This kit is designed to convert your stock LS Series rocker arms into captured roller bearing rocker arms, which are better suited for higher rate valve springs, performance camshafts, and high RPM use. For me, this is just good insurance for our upcoming mods, especially since when the stock rockers fail, they send small bearings all throughout your engine. Yeah, that's not good. The kit is made in the USA and includes all the parts you need for the job, which is 16 pivots and trunnions, 32 high-performance needle bearings, 32 retainer clips, and great detailed instructions. To make this job go nice and smooth, I chose Summit Racing's rocker arm trunnion and bearing installation and removal tool. This tool works on any LS-based engine, and as usual, the folks at Summit have included excellent instructions. You just need a bench vise and you're good to go. Let's get started. My first step was to spray the rockers down with penetrating oil and let that soak in for a bit. Next, I hooked the tool onto my vise. It has strong magnets built into it, so it really hangs on tight. Then I just followed the included instructions and removed those old bearings. Once the old bearings were out of there, I sprayed each arm with brake cleaner to dissolve any leftover crud. Okay, time to install our new trunnion setup. I tell you, the combo of Summit's install tool and their instructions made the job a snap. I'd never done anything like this before and was a little nervous about messing this up, but having the right parts and tool made it a no-brainer. So now you just do that 15 more times and you're good to go. Our old push rods looked okay, but were covered in that baked-on oil gunk and just didn't seem up to the task for our future plans, so I picked up these new push rods from Brian Tooley Racing. They are built with a focus on precision and durability and feature a one-piece design, 4130 chromoly construction, and are case hardened for strength. They're available in various lengths. I chose this size after speaking with the tech support folks at Summit Racing, and I'll measure them during the install to make sure they're correct. To get them clean and ready to install, I soak them in a little bathtub of mineral spirits. Here's a look at our finished, upgraded rocker arms sitting on their mounts and ready to go. Let's install these and our new push rods. I used a combination of the factory service manual and my trusty book here to guide me on how to properly torque down each rocker arm, since this was my first time tackling this job. It's a straightforward process where you're turning the engine over so that the cam is at a certain position for each rocker that you're working on. It just takes time and attention and plenty of oil and assembly lube. Once I went through all 16 intake and exhaust rockers, I did some more oiling and a few final checks to make sure everything looked good. Now seemed like a good time to install the spark plugs, so let's put those in. The main reason here is just to decrease the chances of things falling in the engine while we're test fitting. Okay, I just want to take one moment to talk about how great it is to have a one-stop shop for all the parts you need for a build like this. I can pull up the Summit Racing app, see what's available, do my research, read reviews, and then add the parts I need to my cart and get it all shipped to my door in a couple days. I own a couple cars that are what I would call complicated. Getting even the simplest parts for them is also complicated, and that's putting it mildly. I'll never take this sort of luxury for granted again, believe me. Okay, I just needed to share that. Onward. Next up are the valve covers, which I soaked in mineral spirits for a good week or so. After that and lots of scrubbing, they look great inside and out. I gave the same treatment to the lifter valley cover too. To seal our covers up, I chose these Permadry Plus gasket kits from Felpro, which worked great. Let's start by installing the valve covers. With those torqued down, next comes the valley pan. While I was in there, it seemed like a good time to replace the original knock sensors, so in go a couple new ones. Our original knock sensor harness and especially the rubber plugs here had turned brittle, so I picked up this new harness from Dorman which fit great. Our final little button-up job is the coolant crossover and plugs. I didn't want any leaks here, so I picked up these new replacement seals. Alright, our 5.3 is looking good, all bolted back together and freshened up with a host of upgrades and high quality replacement parts. Yep, it's all cleaned up and ready for its date with that red Tacoma over there. I planned on using some universal weld-up LS swap mounts, but just recently found out about these from CX Racing. They're still kind of universal looking to me with all these mounting holes, but they're made to swap LS-based engines into first-gen Tacomas and look pretty beefy, so I'm going to give them a shot. Let's bolt them up. That all looks promising. Let's get the engine off of the stand and onto the hoist for our first test fit. The anticipation was killing me here. How would this all go? Well, we'll see shortly. Feeling pretty good about how everything's gonna go here on our first test fit, but except for the oil pan, as you can see where the sump is, that's the same location where the steering rack is. A little bit of a conflict there. Let's see how it goes. Well, this is why we test fit. We're gonna sneak in the wheel well here so I can show you. We just have a small disagreement between the oil pan and that center cross member and the steering rack. They're kind of touching. Yeah, that won't work, unfortunately. I had a feeling that the steering rack and frame piece was gonna give me trouble, so let's try a test fit with no oil pan at all and see how things look. Well, we're sitting on the mounts, which is further than we got last time. Wow, look at this! This is so awesome! Well, that won't work. This is hitting. Definitely no room for that. I have to get rid of all that there. That's a no-go. Got zero, negative clearance right in that spot. How are we gonna fit a pipe through there? Oh my goodness, look at that. So it's clear that we have some challenges ahead of us here, but it's important to stay positive and focus on the matter at hand, that oil pan. I made a ton of measurements with the engine in place so we could figure out what will fit without cutting into the truck's crossmember, which I really don't want to do. Let's yank this engine so we can try plan B. Oh, and now I see why those foam mock-up engines are so handy. I'm gonna have to get one of those someday. So after reviewing my measurements, it was clear that we needed a front sump oil pan of some sort. The good news is that there are a host of quality companies that make these for the LS engine family. I looked at all of them, and the one that fit my measurements the best was this one from Canton. Thanks to Summit Racing's ultra-fast shipping, I had this delivered to my door with free shipping in 2 days. This pan is designed for any LS-powered vehicle that requires a shallow front sump oil pan, like LS-powered Nissan 240s, for example. It offers a diamond-shaped baffle with 4 trap doors and a removable windage or anti-slosh baffle to provide excellent oil control. It has a 6.5 quart capacity, a provision for the factory oil level sensor, and an NPT dipstick provision on both sides. While it should fit on paper, I'm not 100% sure if it'll work in real life, so I'm just going to run it on with a couple bolts and see how it goes. If this setup works, we'll come back and install the pickup, windage tray, and other accessories. Okay, front sump oil pan is on. Let's try this again. So this looks promising. We're not lined up on the motor mount yet. And that pan is already trying to clear all these different cross members. All right, we might have something here. It worked! Yes! That all looks great. Plenty of room all around. What a relief. Okay, let's pull the engine again. Now that I feel good about the fit in the engine bay, there's a little something I need to do with these engine mounts that's been bugging me. Well, that was really messy, but worth it. Okay, that's much better. Thank you for watching, and thank you to Summit Racing for making this video series possible. No matter what you're building, be sure to visit summitracing.com or download their handy app for all of your horsepower needs. They also have tons of tech info at onallcylinders.com, so be sure to check that out too. Also, don't forget to come hang out with me at any of these spots. I'd love to hear from you. In the next episode, we'll be accessorizing this engine with all sorts of good stuff. So with that said, thanks again, folks. We'll see you next time.